Good morning. Welcome to the most underrated show on YouTube. There's a lot to talk about today. Let's do it. All right, guys. So, a lot to talk about Alibaba this morning. Last week, I did a little bit of digging. Now, it was the week before. I did a little bit of digging on Alibaba, read through the 10K, and the most important thing that I wanted to see, and you guys know that have been watching for a long time, I've been very leery about these Chinese companies and specifically the way that they audit. And they have a history. I'm not saying that the United States, there's definitely companies in the United States that have their fraud, but when you go offshores, I'm not a big international investor. Back when I was in medical school, I had somebody managing my money for me, and they had 10% of my money allocated to foreign stocks and whatnot. And I always said, no, we're dialing that back. We're putting it in zero because I want to be in the United States. I have no interest in that type of exposure. Now, with that being said, Alibaba is incredibly interesting. It's overpriced. Even when I put it in the stock analyzer tool, I still see it as overvalued. The growth, though, on it is something that I can really. I was texting Paul this morning and I said, what I see right now is that Alibaba is the perfect definition of euphoric highs and depressing lows and incredible overreactions. And I think that's what we're seeing on Alibaba right now. I don't even understand what the deal is with Alibaba falling right now. It's because of all this China talk and delisting and this and that. It's BS. Alibaba is not getting delisted. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, I'll eat my words. But I don't see it that way. With that being said, Alibaba's getting to levels where I'm like, man, I think I might start nibbling at this thing because my only concern is the way that they're audited. They're audited by a British company that uses their Hong Kong branch to do the auditing. And I just keep going back to Luckin Coffee because it's the most recent. Luckin Coffee was the greatest thing since sliced bread. They were going to take out Starbucks. They were going to take out your local coffee store. They were the best thing that you could possibly see. You couldn't go on Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business without seeing the Luckin Coffee was going to be it. And then it turned out that Luckin Coffee was a big fraud. So, now the stock is on the OTC market and it's still down 60% from its highs. So that's what I don't want to happen with Alibaba. And for people that say it can't happen, it can happen because Luckin Coffee was in that similar situation. Not as big, not as well known, but yeah. All right, so here we go. Let's start looking at some stuff. I want to see the markets not really doing anything, pretty flat. Like I said, today's going to be a pretty boring day with the exception of the earnings after the market today with Apple, Google, Microsoft, and the list just goes on. We'll check that a little bit later. We will, you're going to see light volume. Plus, the Fed is starting to meet today for their 2-day meeting. They will, Chairman Powell will give a talk tomorrow at 2:30. So it's going to be a very slow day in the markets. So just be careful. All right. Where are we? Where should we start? Let's start with how the 10-year Treasury rate and the S&P performed when the Fed tapered in 2013. So, as you know, and if you don't know, currently the Federal Reserve is purchasing mortgage-backed securities and Treasury notes for $120 billion a month, and they've been doing that since the pandemic began. So this story goes back and looks at how things happened in 2013 when they had to trim the quantitative easing back then also. So in the wake of the recession, it took about 5 years for the central bank to start slowing down its controversial large-scale bond buying program, ultimately making 2000 the year of the taper tantrum. So right now, like I said, they're doing $120 billion a month. If you look back, following their announcement back in 2013, the market pulled back 6%, but it finished the year up about 30%, according to this Wells Fargo investment group. I haven't double-checked these numbers. I'm just rolling with what Wells Fargo Investment Institute has said. At that time, the 10-year Treasury nearly doubled in 6 months from almost 1.5% to 3.1%. Now, I look at this and say, actually, it's funny. What do you think I'm going to say? I do think it's different this time because literally the Fed is the one that's holding up the market at this point. I don't necessarily think the Fed was holding up the market back in 2013. Did they have a lot invested in the market? Absolutely. Was it like this where you live and die by what the Fed is going to do? No. Let's see here. This Chris Haverland, he's from Wells Fargo Institute. He thinks that the Fed may announce plans to reduce its asset purchases later this year. He thinks that they're going to announce that tomorrow, which could lift longer duration Treasury rates, including the 10%, which would cost you more to borrow, but we got to do something. During the pandemic, the Fed has been buying about $80 billion of Treasuries a month and $40 billion of mortgage-backed securities while increasing the balance sheet to about $8.2 trillion. Is that good? I think it's pretty good. The more debt, the better. All right. Next, let's go to Apple. So Apple reports today after the bell. What's to expect? Let's see what the analysts say. Apple is set to report after the bell. They predicted a slowdown from their future quarters in the future quarters in the App Store, and they're saying it's related to people not sitting on their couch anymore. And I'm just like, why are we comparing it to this stuff? Of course there was going to be a spike when people are sitting at home. Of course there was going to be a spike when Netflix users are sitting at home and there's nothing to do. I mean, come on, be realistic here. They're expecting massive revenue bumps, massive iPhone bumps. And then let's get down here. Bank of America analyst estimates that the Apple will report a sale of 46 million iPhones compared to the Wall Street estimates of 43 million. That's an 18% year-over-year jump. And it's not just iPhone sales. We're going to see Mac sales doing it. We're going to see iPad sales. The biggest thing that I wanted to take away was down here. Remember this going into the future, especially if you're invested in Apple. According to Bloomberg, Apple told its suppliers to build 90 million iPhones, and that's compared to the 75 million that they typically ask them to build. So with 5G coming in, I do not see that 5G is really a thing right now. I have friends that have iPhones with the 5G on them, and I'm really not seeing the big benefit. In some aspects, my LTE is faster than their 5G, but as 5G develops, as phones get better, this is going to be, I think the iPhone 13 or whatever it's going to be called is really the one that's going to take on the 5G meeting, and I think that they could sell a lot more phones than they did with the iPhone 12. So, all right, Intel. This is a good one. Intel is to build Qualcomm chips. Aims to catch foundry rivals by 2025. Intel said on Monday that its factories will start building Qualcomm chips and laid out a roadmap to expand its new foundry business to catch rivals such as Taiwan Semiconductors and Samsung Electronics. Amazon will be another customer for the foundry business. So I'm no genius, but I think I would go on this one versus Bitcoin or cryptocurrency being into the Amazon payments, which Amazon denied, by the way. I saw that story out there today. It said Amazon, a spokesperson came out from Amazon and said, we never said that we're going to be accepting cryptocurrency, and that's not true. So who knows? Intel said Monday it expects to regain lead by 2025 and describes 5 sets of chip-making technologies that it will roll out over the next 4 years. If you want to read through those 5, you can. Qualcomm, which dominates chips for mobile phones, will use what Intel is calling a 28 chip-making process, which will use a new transistor technology to help reduce how much power a chip consumes. Amazon, which increasingly making its own data chip centers for Amazon Web Services. If anybody uses Amazon Web Services, no bueno. They're not yet using the Intel chip, but it will be used in the future. So this is great. I just keep saying Amazon's a sleeper in my opinion, and they're good. They're just good. Yeah, they're just good. Let's see. Let's do Tesla. I see some people talking about Tesla. So yesterday, Elon said that he's not going to be on earnings calls anymore because he'd rather work than have to talk to the analysts, which is actually funny. And then somebody came in and said there was a question from a YouTube channel, and they said, will you come on our show every month and talk about, I'm sorry, will you come on our show twice a year and do an interview? And his comment back was, well, if I'm sitting there doing interviews, then I can't do real work. I thought that was pretty funny. So Tesla Q2 revenue, earnings top estimates after record deliveries, which I'm actually surprised about. And I'm only surprised about it because of the chip shortage. Okay, excuse me. Their revenue came in at $11.96 billion versus $11.37 expected, and let's call it $6 billion year over year. Good for them. Elon said that the global chip shortage remains quite serious. For the rest of this year, our growth rates will be determined by the slowest part in our supply chain, which is there's a wide range of chips that are at various times the slowest part of our supply chain. I never really thought about this when I was looking at cars and stuff, but they were talking about how you have chips in the seats of your car and whatnot. I didn't realize that each individual component had its own chip. So now I understand that. I had no clue. Tesla pulled off its record second quarter deliveries, handing over 250,000 vehicles and producing 206,421. That's good for them. Now, they did say the semi truck is not coming out until 2022, and that was supposed to be 2021. Tesla stock has cooled off since 2021 after a record run-up last year. Shares falling nearly 8% so far year to date after surging 743% in 2020. Woo. By the end of the year, they're looking for a trajectory of 900,000 deliveries. So that is that. And I think it's important to note, as we've talked about many, many times, revenue from high-margin regulatory credits, while still notable, fell 17% over the last year to $354 million. Remember how much money they were making from those government credits, guys. It was quite a lot. This is my last good article that I found. JetBlue's founder, new airline, is a tech company that happens to fly airplanes. Well, that's what he said about JetBlue. All right. No. That's what he said. What he said about JetBlue. Let me get this straight. He said JetBlue was a customer service company that happens to fly airplanes. His new company, Breeze, is a tech company that happens to fly airplanes. Now, this is actually pretty cool. It launched in May, debuted 39 nonstop routes between 16 cities in the South, Midwest, Texas, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, the whole point of what they're doing, he's going to rely less on call centers and ticket counters, and most of the stuff will be handled through an app. Fares are one-way fares between $39 and $99, and those are not introductory prices. So the goal is to get passengers to their destinations twice as fast for half the price. The flex aspect of the airline means it can drop or add flights to a city depending on demand. The seriously nice part refers to the generous cancellation policy. Breeze allows non-refundable tickets to be canceled and refunded without penalty for 24 hours after purchase is made for a ticket and purchase is made for 1 week before travel. This is pretty cool. If companies start going in this direction, that's pretty neat. Airlines have always been high capital intensive, and so that's why most of them are public. But we have plenty of capital. They're private right now, so I don't know. And we can go for a long time. We expect to be profitable next year, so going public is not something that we have to do, but I assume that's a possibility in the future. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm excited to see what happens with that. All right, let's go to the internet, the interwebs. What are the futures doing? Actually, I want to look at Baba right now because Baba was in the 180s. Look at that. I mean, last I looked at it was $185. So this is what I'm talking about. This is just like exuberant overreaction. Even when you pull up the chart, this was October 19th. No, it's October 27th. They hit a high of $319.32. Even just last month, was it? June 28th, a high of $230.89. And today it's at 185. Well, now it's at 183.33. So let's see. Treasuries, have they moved? Not really. Guys, company earnings, just be aware of this. Today, you have Apple, AMD, Microsoft, Google, GM, Starbucks, Visa, Teladoc, JetBlue, SiriusXM, 3M, UPS, Raytheon, Waste Management, Corning. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. Boston Scientific. So be aware. And then tomorrow before the bell, what do you got? Boeing, Tilray, Shopify, Pfizer, Spotify, McDonald's, Teva. So there you go. If you want to join our Patreon, patreon.com/everythingmoney. What's today's date? 27th. At the end of the month, you guys know this, the prices go up. I almost said stock prices. Prices go up for this. So patreon.com/everythingmoney. If you want to get into our Discord, $7 a month. If you want the software and Discord access, $25 a month. This is eventually going to $50. And Bid and Ask Nation to trade and whatnot, $69 a month. You get Discord access. You get access to me. You get access to all the great people. And guys, at the end of this month, starting August 1st, is going to $76. So get in now. And if you want to do a one-on-one session, I have one tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. $500 gets you 1 hour with me. Talk about whatever you want to talk about in the trading world. If you're a beginner, great. If you're super advanced, great. We'll talk about it. And if you want to do a real estate consult with Paul, $10,000 for 4 hours. And if you're buying a big property, it's probably worth it, especially if you've never done something like that before. So that's it. Send me some stocks and we'll go from there. Let's see what we have. So the thing about Alibaba right now, it's below all of its moving averages. Let's zoom out a little bit more. I mean, sheesh. Let's look at this thing. We are right here with Baba. And if you just look, I mean, there is virtually no support until you get to the mid 160s. Yeah. And even below that, call it 157, call it 150. So you're really losing support right now. And this thing is just in a free fall. So if you're buying off based on a chart, I don't know what to tell you. If you want a dollar cost average from a value standpoint, go for it. What I'm thinking is I might add shares and then sell puts to dollar cost average in, because I see this thing going down further unless something random happens where it turns around. But yeah. All right, Verizon Wireless. Verizon is below all four of its major moving averages. Not ideal. Let's see what the volume is doing. I like to check the volume. Volume is the gasoline to volume is like gasoline is to a car. It just, you need volume to drive markets, and it's actually Verizon has very consistent volume. So the biggest thing is I need to get this, of course, moving into the sweet spot. And frankly, I don't think you're going to get that until you get into this 56, 50, 57 range, maybe even higher. I'm not sure. All right. Selling puts on Alibaba. I do not think it's the worst idea in the world if you want to buy something like that. Okay. Facebook. We haven't done Facebook in a long time. We also haven't done Best Buy in a long time. I'm just going to assume that Facebook is hitting all-time highs, and they are, because what isn't? Alibaba isn't. You had a little bit of jump right there. Eventually, this thing will pull back and fill this gap. But I mean, if you're in this, just stay with it. This is great. This is for sure. Well, it's not really a power stock, but technically it is, but it's not really. So if you keep making new all-time highs, get at it. You're fine. Let's look at Best Buy. I just had Best Buy over to my house yesterday. Okay. Best Buy, who said this? Mike Recker. Mike, I think you're in the Bid and Ask Nation. Anyways, the reason I say that is because it's a good-looking stock. Now, let's zoom in right there just so you can see it a little bit better. So, where did my moving averages go? So, okay. All right. Okay, this is getting annoying. I want my moving. All right, I'm just going to do this. So you can see that it's just kind of hovering right at its 200-day, 50-day, and 100-day. And yesterday it actually hit the 100-day and pulled right back down. So you need 3 days of being in the sweet spot with this one. You're not there yet. You have to break up like this. So wait for it to get into the sweet spot. You need 3 days. Who is all right? Lucid. So I'm not going to do here. Let me pull up the Lucid chart for you. I have nothing. This is what I'm going to have. I'm going to have one big candle. That's it. So if you want to go do something with this, day trade it. But literally, this is all I have. And if you can trade off of a chart like this, you're better than me. So I always say with companies like this, I want you guys to day trade them, but don't get too. You need. A chart is an entire book. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. A chart is an entire book. And for you to have the whole book, you need at least 1 year of the chart. Because looking at especially 1 day, you're getting nothing out of that. Now, if you're getting 3 months, you have a quarter of the book. So give yourself the best opportunity to make money. I know it's exciting, and I know you guys want to get in on the new hottest thing for whatever reason. But go and day trade it. That's the best way to do it. Google making new all-time highs. They report, is it after the bell or did they report yesterday? They reported yesterday. Okay, so Google reported yesterday, and they're doing their Google thing. Keep going higher, keep going higher. So if you're in this, great. If you're not in it and you want to get in it, go ahead and add here. Just make sure you're playing tight stops. That's all you got to do. $2,800 a share. Sheesh. Let's see here. CCL. Let's check out CCL. Oh, so CCL has finally done its little reversal down here. That's great. Now, it's going to have a very difficult time breaking through this 200-day moving average unless you get volume like these 3 days right here. Unless you get that, you're not going to get very far. But CCL is looking fine. I am very happy that I bought more shares. And frankly, I don't think that it's just going to, I just don't think it's going to bounce down. All right, let's see. I almost said Oracle. All right, let's look at Intel because why not? Man, Intel's still down. They just move so off. They move so much for being a company like Intel. They really swing quite a bit. I mean, yesterday they were up 2.5%. Today they're down 2.5%. I've really never seen a company that's $220 billion. Well, with the exception of these hype companies like Tesla and stuff. But this is a relatively boring company, and they move so much per day. So let me see here. Let's zoom out just a touch. So the good news is you are sitting right at a resistance level right now. So to be honest with you, I don't see Intel falling much lower unless the market takes a turn on you. And if the market takes a turn as a whole, Intel is going to end up down here in this 46, 45, 44, maybe even lower area. But right now, it's tough to short just because you're at this strong support level, and it's tough to go long because, well, you're in a downtrend. So just take it easy with Intel and let things play out. Let's do Oracle. And we did Visa last week. I remember doing Visa. All right, so Oracle, if you're in this and you have profits, please take your profits off the table because you're about to roll over right now. Your daily has already rolled over. Please take your profits on this. This is when you get big run-ups like that and then you get a big pullback, it's not exit your position. It's take your profits off the table because this thing could very well get to this point. You're not in a downtrend yet. You're getting there. This thing could very well spike back up here, but at least you'll have put some profits in your pocket instead of losing everything that you gained. So H&R Block. Let's see. H&R Block has done a little bit of a sweet spot reversal, allegedly. And let's let it move up. Let's see what happens. Don't do anything with it today, that's for sure. Don't do anything with it today. Somebody just said AMD is big day for AMD. Is earnings today for AMD? It is earnings today for AMD. So here, let's look at this. This is a good thing to show you guys. When you have a stock that runs up like this, and then your trend is still up, but the stock price pulls back, this is called a snapback. And that's all that this is. Now, when we're in a downtrend and you see how the price action is snapping back this way, that's also called a snapback. So when it's red like this on my charts, you're in a downtrend, but the stock price is snapping back on you. Now, this is a very dramatic snapback. I'm surprised that the trend hasn't changed here, but eventually it will change. Don't worry. Let's see what happens today. This thing could end up here. This thing could end up right back down here. We'll see. Guys, smash the like button for me if you have not already. All right. TAL. Let's see what TAL is. TAL Education Group. Oh boy. What is this? They look beat up. That's all I know. I don't know how to read this one. Sorry. Next. ExxonMobil. Is that XOM? This is a good way to go at oil stocks is to trade them here. So bad news on them is that they're below all of their not all of them, 100-day, 50-day, and 25-day moving average. It's rough being below all of those. So you have a great downtrend going, but you do have this snapback channel that's happening. So if I was you, I would let this just cool down. Let's see what's going to happen. They report earnings on the 30th, so that's Friday. And just be careful with that one. Intel is a dead company. Noted. Spicer. JP Morgan Chase. So I do like trading banks, specifically when markets are out of control. Right now, they're not out of control. They're very boring. So you can see if you just draw a line right through here, you're just kind of sitting right at this support level of here's the kind of consolidation channel. So you're just sitting right in this area. It's a downtrend though, and to be honest, your daily is really just sitting there. So I wouldn't do anything with JP Morgan right now. Let's look at Square, and then somebody said one more thing. What do I want to look at? American Airlines as a swing trade. I'll do that one. All right. Square. Let's zoom out here. So interestingly, Square has tried multiple times to break through this 280 level and it can't do it. So I think that you can probably get away. Let's zoom in here and just see where it's going. I think you can probably get away with, if you get an engulfing candlestick like this, you can run it up to this kind of 280, maybe just below 280. And then I would probably take my profits off the table and see what's going to happen. But it's not boding well for them, seeing that they have hit that resistance level two times, and they're kind of going into it for a third time with very let's see. Was it light volume? Let's see what they're doing here. No, the volume's consistent. It's definitely fallen off from maybe a couple months ago, but they're going to need a lot more volume than that to get through that level. All right, let's see here. American Airlines. So American is, I think we talked about this one the other day. You're just kind of stuck between the 25 and the 100 and the 50 day. And you're hovering. The good thing is you're right above that 200. It bounced off the 200 and flew back up. You're getting good volume coming in, except it's decelerating a little bit. I would let this thing move into the sweet spot for at least 3 days and then go ahead and add to it. But I think you can probably get a good run up to this $26 level. It's just you have to be patient with this thing, especially the direction that everything's going with airlines and travel and this and that. All right, let's see. Oracle. Please do Oracle. It would mean a lot to me. Adorable. All right. Let's see here. Oracle is hitting all-time highs, but they're also in a snapback. So I'm going to pull it out 6 months and take a look. Let's pull it out 6 months here. Good news is your major moving averages. This is actually pretty decent volume that they've had the last month, but you cannot, man, that was a hard fall yesterday that they had. So if you want to take profits, I think I already did this one, but take profits. McDonald's. I like McDonald's when they're handing out stimulus checks and stuff, to be honest with you. That's when I like to take a look at food companies, fast food companies, restaurants, etc. I think that's a good time to go and grab those things. Conversely, when we come up to Christmas season, I want somebody write this down. I want you guys to look at like Ralph Lauren, the Louis Vuitton, those kind of companies. Those are the kind of companies that are good to trade when it comes around that time. Also, Starbucks, McDonald's, companies that are inside of malls and whatnot. Those are companies that I really like to go at. But Ralph Lauren, that's a big one when it comes Christmas time. If you just look at it historically, you'll get some good runs on that thing off of a chart. So McDonald's is looking good. When do they report? They report earnings tomorrow, so just be aware of that. If they make a new all-time high tomorrow, go for it. Or they could end up down here. I really don't know, and neither do you. So just be careful with it. All right, guys, market's open. Let's see what things are doing. Did the chaos continue, or are we green? What are we doing? Okay, the NASDAQ is green. Russell's green. All right, guys, that's it for today. Smash the like button on your way out. We have the live show with me, Paul, and Seth at 1 o'clock Eastern time today. And go and look at Alibaba puts. You never know what's going to be out there. Have a great day.